Are we in a bull run, or is crypto going to crash soon? Is it ICP or HBAR? And what are the best 2024 altcoins? These three questions and a lot more are going to be answered in as best of detail as I possibly can today, so that you can become more educated in the space. Now, before we start, I do want to point out, guys, the one thing I hate the most about crypto is that misinformation is passed around so much, people get the wrong idea. When something is good, it might actually be bad. And when something looks bad, it might actually be good. And how many times, hand up, can you say you fell for similar things? You purchase something, ends up tanking. You say, no, that looks like crap, and it ends up pumping. So guys, today I'm going to kind of push through that noise and give you what you need to know so that you are more educated in this ever-growing space. Now, look, if you do learn something new, which again is the point of today's video, I want you to give me a bit of support and drop a like on the video. But importantly, I want you to subscribe so that you can achieve your crypto goals. Now, the reason why it's important that you subscribe is that you are going to have the ability to comment when I do eventually come out with a new Q&A video. I drop these out likely every month or every couple of months, and so you can have your question possibly answered if you participate. And of course, if you do want more access to me and not just a basic question, but I'm talking even a portfolio overview, then the private community is going to be where you want to be. That link will, of course, be down below as well. So question number one from Andrew. By the way, Andrew, such a great question. Do you think this bull market might be quicker and more explosive and finish sooner than previously? I think maybe quicker and sooner, unless I'm reading that wrong, might be the same sort of thing here. But, will it happen faster and more explosively than last time? Well, I would really recommend you guys watch this video I posted. It'll be about 3 days ago now, as of you watching this video. And I go into the idea and the thesis of us possibly having a cycle more similar to the 2018 cycle because of a few indicators. Now, this is one indicator here that I didn't mention in that video because it came out on the day I'm recording this video. Plan B, the guy who brought us the famous stock to flow model for Bitcoin, actually indicates that there is a red dot now on what I believe this is sort of similar to the stock to flow model chart actually, which indicates a bull run. As you can see, every single dot that has happened indicating red here, pretty much a bull run has ensued, right? And so it is a little bit interesting to see this partnered up with the information I brought in that video. And actually, as you're seeing this video, tomorrow's video, I'll be bringing all of this back in to have another idea on what I believe is happening based on some more data I've picked up over the last 48 hours, okay? So yes, I actually think that this cycle might look a bit more like this. We have that first big leg up, and then we might hit, let's just hypothetically say $150,000. We might potter around the $110,000-ish level, over the course of 6 to 12 months, before then coming back down again, maybe possibly around mid-2025. I mean, here's the thing, guys. No one really knows, okay? No one knows because we have a massive variable in the market now, being these ETFs. So I think before I go over this a little bit more in detail, if you are someone hearing this, the best thing you can do to be prepared, in my opinion, is to be more in crypto than out of crypto. Again, my personal opinion, not financial advice, and also to have your individual exit plans set up right now for each of your altcoins. You should not be buying your altcoin unless you know how many multiples it will take from you at that price to achieve your goal. Before I buy, I always assess that. Otherwise, I'll be looking for a revenue number. My NEAR protocol has to hit $400,000 for me to 10x, right? I'm waiting for the $400,000 in my portfolio to show up. But if I've been buying at levels that have brought my average up, I'm not going to hit that level. I just will not hit that level. Therefore, I'm going to be stuck holding my tokens. Happens time and time again. So reassess this. He actually says we're going to have 10 months of face melting FOMO. So it looks like he's definitely one of those ones who are in the circle of saying we're going to have sort of a blow off top moment around this year, maybe latest early next year. Again, this thesis also comes in from a gentleman called Credible as well, who I've recently started following because he's one of the guys who I've also helped, theorize this based on his post. Again, I'll leave this in the video description as well, just as I did in this video. It's definitely worth a read, trust me right now. And I actually think based on a few different indicators, like the psychology of the market cycle, that we have already had the takeoff moment, which is when the mean, like the 4-year moving average over here, is surpassed by the actual trading action, which we have sort of seen here. It definitely did pass back over here, but we never really broke as far above it. We came back down and touched, Now we are well and truly above that point, so I believe that's already happened. We may have even had our bear trap first sell-off, okay, which might actually happen over here. I'm not entirely sure, but definitely could have happened here. Now, I don't think we'll fall again beneath the 1.8 trillion global market cap level, so suffice it to say that prices will likely be moving up from here, and yes, we will probably have at least, if not the only, our first blow-off top moment sometime this year, okay? If it's on the all-time high, it's definitely going to happen, I think, sometime this year. We also had a great video from Mark on the private community done yesterday where he supports this theory with a few indicators of his own. And so, look, I do trust Mark with a lot of TA. I mean, the guy hardly ever is wrong. Don't tell him I'm putting that much pressure on him. But the guy's definitely got it down. He's got something right, okay? And he definitely runs the risk to reward through with everyone and kind of brings this situation up as well. So, you know, whether we're right, whether we're wrong, again, I think it definitely plays into the fact that you don't want to be having more exposure to cash rather than crypto right now, because, you know, if the market, we do have this initial first large leg up, it's definitely going to favor those who are in rather than out. We might have a 20-30% dip along the way, but I think we're going to still have these higher lows in place for many, many altcoins. So Vim asks, what's your personal opinion on the top 5 best crypto narratives for the bull run? Well, of course, as we all know, I've got that, you know, altcoin narrative chart I've made myself and ranked all these narratives and what I believe will be the best performing over the bull run, but I'll show you in a second what my top 5 picks are. And the reason this is such a good question and the reason why I wanted to answer it is because if we know what the best performing narratives are likely to be and we buy the best altcoins in those narratives, we're exposing ourselves to so much demand and so much explosive potential that it's going to help bring up a lot of our crappy altcoins that we might accidentally buy because of another influencer or something like that, okay? So yes, we want to look at the top performance of altcoins over the last 90 days since the bull run's pretty well been kicking off. And yes, you want to see what these independent, you know, websites and, you know, media outlets are saying about their altcoins, but who really knows where they're pulling their data from? No one really knows. And so I'm going off basically accumulation of all these different places and people and their opinions and personally what I've seen so far and what I've been putting on the channel. And so out of the top 10 narratives, these are all the 10 out of 10 ranked narratives I believe in this bull run. I'm giving number 1 place to AI, number 2 to DeepIn, because a lot of DeepIn projects are inherently AI projects as well. Number 3 to layer 2s, because you have projects like EigenLayer, Celestia, for example, AltLayer. They're actually supporting the fact of layer 2s becoming more prevalent this bull run. And since the last bull run, you know, Ethereum has moved away from its own independent, you know, transaction and settlement project to now just being a settlement project spawning layer 2. So layer 2s are a massive narrative, and that's why they take number 3 spot. Number 4 is gaming, easy, and, you know, arguably that, you know, gaming could even be number 1 depending on who you ask, right? There's going to be a lot of big blow-off top projects coming from like a couple 100,000 market cap to a few billion market cap for sure, but that is not my forte. I'm just recognizing it as one of the best. Have you ever wondered what that guy who lives in a pineapple under the sea is doing with his life these days? Well, you're actually not alone. But I've got some good news. You don't have to wonder for any longer. Sponge is a meme coin that is inspired by everyone's favorite childhood cartoon show, SpongeBob SquarePants, that takes us on the adventure of SpongeBob in his post-Nickelodeon days as a full-on crypto degen. Now, I'm joking, of course, but Sponge first and foremost really is designed as a meme coin, with nothing more than pumps being the intended use case. This is actually the second version of the coin after Sponge V1 pumped to just under a 100x from its ICO price until being migrated to this new contract on the Polygon blockchain, as you can see from this drop in price. Sponge V2 is currently trading on Uniswap, however you can purchase the tokens via the website to instantly stake for high rewards. Just remember that your tokens will be locked for a period of time. Sponge is currently awaiting their first centralized exchange listings, which is their next big roadmap event, with a Sponge game following soon after. So look, Sponge is nothing more than a meme coin built around the hype and buzz of the SpongeBob television show, so I wanted everyone to know of the risk you take in not knowing how to properly benefit from a meme coin position. If you want to participate though, please do your own research and use a link down below if you go ahead with it. And with that being said, let's get back to the video. Number 5, I think modularity, and number 6, ZKPs are interchangeable. I think they will definitely be contenders for those 2 spots. Big Source asks, have you bought Pyth and have you started staking it? Yes, I have over 20,000 Pyth tokens. Yes, I am staking it. Highly suggest if you are looking to get into Pyth and stake it, there's no APY right now, to do so ASAP, because you can participate in governance, which will allow you to actually get some airdrops. Okay, that's why I'm staking it, and why I would have some exposure to that if you are, of course, looking for it. Now, in addition to airdrops, I kind of wanted to use this question and actually kind of talk more about what I've been thinking about recently, because I guarantee you, if you're new to the space or more of a passive crypto investor, this is something you have not considered. And I want you to hear me out here, because that was exactly me in the last cycle. And I can tell you right now, knowing this and actually doing it will put you in such a better position, okay? I want you guys to think about it like this. Be more active in the space. If you're hearing, Pyth staking for possible airdrops, you might disregard that as just whatever. It's just too much work. I want you to try and find these little ways and you can actually make more money, whether it's airdrops, whether it's new token launches, right? Buying something like Manta and having some cash on the side in the bull run, and not just aping into your coins because you got FOMO, or maybe just, buying in the seed round or ICOs. Again, just staking your tokens like I do with all of my cryptocurrencies to get some passive rewards. Like, if you do this, you're going to increase your output like 10x. You might get lucky on an airdrop one day and you might make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, and you might have done hardly anything to participate. With staking, for example, right? You're getting more tokens back out of the market, which ultimately means 2 things. You can bring down your average exit because you got more tokens, which means you're going to receive your revenue goal a lot sooner, or you simply sell at the same exit level and you just make more money. Like, either way, that's obviously benefiting you a lot from just doing nothing. In the last literally 3 months, I've made like 1,400, 1,500 MENA tokens. If I sell at $20, that's like $30,000 just from doing nothing, okay? And so that's why it's so important that you can increase your output more than a 10x. If you just simply do things like Big Source mentions over here, staking your Pyth for possible airdrop. Nick asks a great question. He says, I keep hearing crazy predictions about coins I hold. Now, Nick, I want to tell you, mate, they're going to get even crazier. As the cycle heats up and as we get deeper and deeper into it, it's not just you or retail that kind of feels that FOMO. It's influencers as well. I guess we're all retail, right? But influencers are going to feed off their audience watching their video. And so they put more and more crazy predictions out there. I mean, just Google like Casper, right? Or Google these altcoins and you'll see these crazy, H-bar to $10 prediction sort of thing. So you're going to hear more about it. So first of all, I would just say, do not fall for that crap as the bull run ramps up. As we get deeper into it, those multiples are going to come down and down and down, even though influencers are going up and up and up, okay? He says, mainly quant. I've seen predictions for quant as high as 5,000, right? Why couldn't it get there considering its circulating supply is just over 12 mil and considering the overall market cap is projected to be 7 to 10 trillion? Why can't quant capture a 50 to 60 billion market cap with its interop tech? Your thoughts on it going to 5K? Well, let's run the numbers through here, Nick. As you know, I mean, it sounds like you got this all down pat already. 5,000 price prediction, 12.5 million supply. That's considering 500,000 tokens go into circulation between now and the next 12 or so months. That gives us about a 62 billion market cap. So ask yourself, is that realistic? I would say for quant, hell yeah. Quant really should be a $1 trillion market cap project. Now, whether it should be or whether it does is a different actual story. The meme is too enterprise focused in this case, right? Degens want to buy what degens want to buy. And in this case, a big message that influencers definitely also propagate is that you got to buy the new coins. Don't buy the old ones. They don't reach their all-time highs. That is wrong. They don't reach their all-time highs because they don't have any interesting new aspect that is a great meme, okay? Projects that do that continue to have these higher highs, higher lows, so on and so forth, right? They continue doing well. It's just that because they talk about this stuff so much, is that even some of the good coins that do upgrade, like Quant, they don't perform as well. Now, this market is heavily degen regulated. So I think Quant, XLM, XRP, these heavily Web 2 focused projects are going to do really well in 2030 because they are still upgrading and they're doing their magic. But I think in this bull run, we have to be one step ahead of the degen and we have to buy coins that degens are buying. Even the old ones like pretty well all these coins are somewhat old. I mean, they were around in the last cycle, apart from Injective, right? But they are Web3 focused, which is where degens love, because degens use DeFi. They use the actual technology itself, which means it's more appealing. They can't use and see this shit, so for them, it doesn't make sense, right? They're the type of people to use cash in the real world, and they think, hey, I'm not actually spending money, right? Because it's not deducting my balance on my account. So that's the sort of thing you have to think about, right? And be one step ahead of this. So I would say, look, once a great project, if you end up holding it for the next bull run, I think that's fine. It's going to do really well. I think 2030 will be the year or the cycle of the enterprise-focused projects, but I still hold 75 quants. You know, I made a video a few months ago, right? Well, a month ago, actually, warning, stop buying these altcoins and telling you guys literally about this. Focus on Web3 for this cycle, Web2 focus for the next cycle, right? People hated me for saying that, but it's true. I think it's true anyway. And so I sold 50% of my quant. Had 150, now of course have 75. But the reason why I'm still holding quant is part of the reason that Greg, my good friend over here, pointed out recently. By the way, follow Greg on Twitter. He's posting more and more quant content. If you want the best quant content on the damn internet, follow Greg Lunt X on Twitter. Anyway, he said, price tightening is growing for quant like a coiling spring. Quant has always moved to the beat of its own drum, and I think you have to be crazy not to consider the fact that this is looking crazy for the price of quant. I think quant's next sort of leg up from here is likely going to be around the 150 to 170 price level. I think it'll probably jump from this massive wedge and will probably sit somewhere in here. And then I think it's definitely going to be quite easy for it to pump to its all-time high. I think once it's over its all-time high, which is about a 150% jump from around the 170 price range, I think it's going to go off to the moon. Now, do I think $5,000 is reasonable? Well, no. I bring us back down to this same theory I just, spoke about over here. But I definitely think that it's a matter of time before quant explodes, okay? Have a look at a project called Xlar. Xlar is in the same narrative as quant, but it's Web3 interop rather than Web2 interop like quant is. It's had a meteoric rise and it had a massive spike. It went from $1.50 all the way up to $2.50, just insane. Now it's sitting around $2, but I think it's a matter of time before a project like quant does this and everyone FOMOs back in a quant, okay? It's a matter of time. So I think a much more realistic level is $1,500 to $2,000. Question 5 from Cinemod says, which entry price for Fetch? Are we too late or is it still a good entry level? And I have a lot of respect for this question because as we'll see in the next question, and I'm not trying to crap on anyone individually here, but I get questions all the time. Hey, is this a good coin? Is that a good coin? What coin and what coin? What coin do I buy for the most gains? Guys, understand something. You have to have the entry level sorted before you worry about a coin. You could have the crappiest coin in the world that can still do really well so long as its meme is good, right? And all this to say is that it matters on what price you get in. You might buy the top quality project like HBAR. HBAR, if you buy HBAR at $1, you're not even going to get a 2x out of HBAR, okay? So always matters about the price you buy. Stop just aping into projects because it sounds good. So it all depends, Cinemod, of course, on how much we're looking to get out of the market, which all, of course, stems from the risk and reward you're looking for out of the cycle. I think right now, something like Fetch probably fits somewhere in between these two levels right here. If you want a 40x, no, now's not a good price for you to buy Fetch. Looking for a 10x? Absolutely, now's a good price to buy Fetch, okay? So let's just presume we're looking for a 20x out of Fetch, okay? So this is kind of what I did up for you over here, Cinemod. And I would say, look, I think a price for Fetch is probably going to be about $25. I think that's a realistic level for it to hit. Probably could go a lot more, but you don't want to kind of risk buying as high as possible. So buying at $2.50, it's about a 10x. Of course, from the current price, it's about a 15.5x. From $1, which is what I would probably say to you, you'd have to look for in this case. Over here, 50x, 50 cents, the list goes on. But use $25 as that sort of rough figure on the max side. Ideally speaking, you want to get as low as possible. You want to buy, somewhere where you have to sell lower so that you're not risking more on the upside. Just, you're giving yourself more risk than what you'd like to. What if something goes wrong in the market or your project? Again, you'll be left holding the bag. And if you want the truth, I'm still looking to buy Pyth myself. I actually want to add this coin to my portfolio, and I wasn't executing down here when it was about 70 cents, right? I knew it was going to do well, and I still knew it was going to hit, 20 billion market cap and stuff like that, no problem. So look, I personally am looking for a 19x out of the market. Honestly, I could get away with a 15x, I really could. So I could probably end up buying Pyth around $1. But what's the point of me trying to sell at $25, which might be its top, when in reality, I just might, have to wait a little bit lower to be as safe as possible. Now, the price of Fetch, as you can obviously tell over here, is at its all-time high. Basically, we are coming down from that point in time. So I think you're crazy if you buy now, unless you are anyone looking for a 10x. I think if you're anyone looking for more than a 10x, you probably want to wait a little bit for it to drop. So Remy says, what two cryptos would be a good start to DCA into starting tomorrow? $100 a week for the next 12 weeks. Minimum risk. So minimum risk, mind you, is that middle category over here, like I just pretty well put Fetch AI into, and I included Neo's response here because I think he's actually got a good point. Mina or IMX, I'm not too sure on IMX for mid-risk. I think that's more so low risk, but zero knowledge proofs are definitely the way to go, right? And Mina is definitely a good pick. And again, I would always come back down to what is your ROI goal? People always like to know, what are the best coins to buy now, but no one ever asks the questions of what price I should get in at, which is why I like the previous question, okay? So this will mean you'll be holding your bags until the next cycle. So I actually think, look, Flux and Mina might be a good two picks in that category. You have Flux on the lower end of the mid-risk, and you have Mina on the higher end, meaning that, of course, it's a higher market cap. So it's probably bordering right now into the low risk. Well, matter of fact, it's a 1.3 or 1.4 billion market cap. So technically, it is low risk, but I would still kind of consider it on the edge. So you have one riskier mid-risk and one less risky mid-risk, okay? But also keep in mind, DCAing into these coins for the next, well, it's actually, you said 12 weeks, might be a different story because who really knows what's going to happen over the next 12 weeks because you never want to marry your bags. This is more so not actually answering the question, more so general principle now. Look, never kind of have this idea of dollar cost averaging into a specific coin or coins. Think about it, always analyze your projects, which is why I say 10 minutes of research per project per day. If you're laughing at that saying, I can't find the time, well, I'm laughing back at you because you really need to, just in case something like Mina, for example, had a really bad event that happened that made it an unfeasible project to hold and you might want to sell. Keep in mind, though, there is a difference between an actual genuinely bad thing happening and FUD, okay? There's definitely two parts to that, so that's why it is important to have some conviction as well. So question 7 from Jacobs, which layer 2 will see the most growth? Well, I am, hedging my bets into Manta. It's a new project. It's hitting I think 8 or 9 massive narratives. So it's exposing itself to a massive market. ZKP's one of those as well. And so I am sort of, betting on that. I'm also staking it for 38% APY. And there is airdrops. Again, we're trying to maximize our exposure in the market, not just via the appreciation of one asset. If we can use it in many different ways, then it's obviously worthwhile. So that's my bet in this case, but that's just because I'm looking for that 19x. I don't think I can get a 19x out of IMX in this case, and Optimism and maybe Arbitrum, but really I think being on the safer side of things, I think Manta has, a few of those aspects up its belt, and it actually is a layer 2 and a layer 1 in one, technically speaking, right? Can you discuss your property plan for maximum growth and yield for Aussies? Now, I definitely can in a future video. It's a good question, it really is, because this is how I plan to make my money after this cycle. That's what my sort of goal is, to buy 4 properties outright. At this point, I'm starting to think of buying 8 or more properties and only pretty well buying, half of them outright, or maybe 1/3 of the property's value outright, and then, of course, leveraging equity in this case, and then buying more and more and more and more, which will allow me to just live. That's the whole part of life, is to live. So that is my goal 100%. I can definitely bring it to you in a future video for sure. Exit plan for Render, I actually made a video on this. So if you want to watch that, I would suggest if you own HBAR, ICP, and Render, you must do this now. About a month ago, I actually show you a full exit plan for Render. But just keep in mind, guys, for the private community, we have an exit plan calculator coming in the next few weeks. So you're going to have all that taken care of yourself in a very easy to follow interface. So don't have to stress any more than that, right? Question 8, 1,000 ICP or 1,000 HBAR? Curious to know your thoughts since you like them both. Thank you, Rob. Good question, Rob. I love them both. HBAR is my number 1 holding and it's my favorite project, but ICP is literally equal to it. ICP is next to HBAR, my favorite project. Now people say, Kyron, why don't you own any ICP? Like I said before, entry levels didn't support the ROI goals I'm chasing. I love projects. I'm not married to any project. I will sell HBAR tomorrow if it has a really bad announcement, okay? That is something that most people cannot say they can control, is that thought in the back of their mind, right? Once you master your emotions in crypto or in any market, you're literally going to do much better than someone who can't. So if we just analyze this at face value, right, $1,000 in each, well, ICP's price is, or market cap, should I say, is 50% larger than HBAR's. And so that instantly makes the multiples possibly less. And if we look at the narratives, which plays a very big part in this cycle, HBAR is a Web 2 layer 1, ICP is a Web 3 layer 1, which has more demand coming into it than, again, something like HBAR. However, ICP is also exposed to more narratives as well, more Web 3 focused narratives. So, I think HBAR, because of the lower market cap, right, it's likely to achieve an 8x to about a 15x, at least from today's price, which is likely to be more, at least in theory, than ICP. But again, remember, ICP has more 2025 growth. So it hits more, narratives for the bull run, but it could also mean equal to, more growth even though the market cap's actually higher. But when it comes down to it, I would always probably go with a project that is very, very promising in itself that is a lower market cap, because it's just always comes down to the price you're selling at. If we kind of look for a 15x in both projects right now, you'll find a 15x in a 6 billion market cap is like close to 100 billion. A 15x or so at a 4 billion market cap is like 50 billion. So there's a massive difference there. But ultimately, here's what I would, get you to take away from this. Both are quality projects that at worst case, you can hold to the next bull market. Okay. So if you screw up, something happens and you have to hold your tokens, right? You're going to likely make those, multiples back in the next cycle. So in my opinion, just buy whatever you have more conviction in, so that's pretty well simply as I put it. JK says, I'm a crypto novice. If I don't have a great deal of money, like $500, $1,000, might it be a better decision to forego investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum and rather go into a variety of cryptocurrencies or altcoins, okay? He understands, of course, not financial advice. That's great. So my answer to this first part is yes. It doesn't make any sense to go BTC and ETH if you don't have a lot of money. But again, it comes down to how much you're trying to make out of the market. If you're chasing a 3x, even on that amount of money, then yes, you most definitely can. If you are someone who doesn't have a high risk tolerance, you don't want to risk losing any of that money at all, you can't lose any of it, then no matter how many multiples you make, I would still say Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay? Be safe, make that money back. But if you are someone who can be a bit more risky, and if you are chasing more multiples, then it makes sense to do that. People will argue you have a little bit of exposure to Ethereum. If it's not Bitcoin, a little bit to Ethereum, and that's fine, absolutely. But if you're looking for a 30x, then you kind of have to go with, your meaner protocols, maybe your Fetch, for example, or even lower, your Fluxes, your AOS networks, those lower market caps. Not too low, and it all depends again on your ROI. So generally speaking, I personally would say yes, forego Bitcoin and forego Ethereum. Question 2, could you please explain about Ethereum ETC, so Ethereum Classic? It apparently was due to a hard fork with ETH. Why do I never hear anything about it? How do you think ETC could react during this bull market compared to ETH? Some say it could ultimately go higher than ETH. Do you believe this? Why or why not? So I don't think it'll go higher than ETH in terms of market cap. In terms of multiples made, probably. Now, how Ethereum Classic was created was that a hard fork means as a miner, right? Let's just say this is a mining machine, right? My Crypto Millionaire Cup. If I was a miner running this right now on Ethereum, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to come in with a new upgrade, a new update, new software, right? But we're going to hard fork, which means that you have to change to it because we're pretty well making the new blockchain. That's the new blockchain, right? A soft fork is where you can continue running the old software on the new update, okay? And in this case, a hard fork, right, was created with Ethereum back in the day, where this new Ethereum blockchain was created with these new upgrades, but you didn't have to change to that, okay? If you didn't run the update, you were stuck with Ethereum Classic. And what this meant for people holding Ethereum was you now had two assets. You now had the equal amount in Ethereum still and the equal amount in Ethereum Classic, okay, which is great for those holding the token, right? You pretty well just doubled your money for free, okay? I don't think Ethereum Classic is one to look at and love. I never think a copy of a standalone project is the best. Like, very rarely do we find that a sequel to a movie is better than the original, right? I think the original will take precedence. So in my opinion, Ethereum Classic's a no-go. People still like the project, great, all power to you. But for me, No, thank you very much. Question 10 is actually one from an old video that I'm going to bring up again because I think it's pretty important for people to think about this, okay? So an unknown user says, we know the money flow goes into Bitcoin, layer 1, big caps, small caps, and hopefully AI and gaming. Should we go all in on big caps and take profit and invest in speculative narratives are for profit or DCA already? The answer, long story short, is DCA already. What I find a lot of I keep bringing up influencers. I'm not trying to crap on these guys. I know a lot of really good influencers, mind you, here, but the ones that don't know any better, that are very ignorant, what they'll do is say, hey, follow this chart. What you want to do is buy Bitcoin, then buy Ethereum, then buy large caps, and then look for some altcoins, all right? But this is not a guide. It's not telling you what to do. It's an indicator of where we are in the market. Okay, Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin comes down, altcoins go up, or Ethereum goes up, and then Ethereum goes down, and then altcoins go up, and then altcoins go down, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's the general flow of money. Now, whether it happens or not in this cycle, no one really knows, but I think it still is a decent indicator, not a guide. Don't follow it like it is something you should do. You know, never try to buy, sell, and chase the money. Trust me, I did it in the last cycle, and I mean, you can learn from your own mistakes, but let me forego that now for you. So with that being said, everyone, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you have enjoyed, but importantly learned something new. And again, if you have, drop a like on the video. It helps me out quite a lot, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.